Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Artie of Artie's Corporate Fiction. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are having a Merry Christmas and a great holiday season. We got, as promised, we are going to another auditor situation with the same auditor as we looked at on Monday, where this was a previous visit. This took place before what we saw on Monday. And it's at the same Social Security Administration office. But this time it's not to do with a mask, but with your typical auditor. I'm deciding to go record in a Social Security office. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at a Homeland Security officer who actually calls in and tries to talk to the auditor about what about the requirements that are set there. And then we're going to go revisit an old guru that we haven't talked about in a long time. I just recently discovered that he has his own Telegram group, and he posted one of his recent court hearings, and in my opinion, it was pretty sensational. It doesn't conclude the way I wish it would, but the judge really does give him a lesson in legal ethics, I should say. No, it's not Josh. So this one, it's the same. So just to clarify, it's the same pair. However, it's only one auditor. It's the same group that we saw on Monday, but it's only one of them this time around. One, I think you'll definitely love the court hearing that I found for sure. So please stick around for that. And if you want, I can send you the footage. I can send you the raw footage if you want it. All right, let's get to work. Oh, I also want to say I missed these. My stream elements wasn't working, so I missed these tips from you guys. Thank you, Taylor, for the $10. Uncle Scott for the $6.90, and Super J for the $4.20. So thank all three of you. I appreciate it.
This is a public service.
Out here today at the Social Security Administration we're in the land. Step away from this leaf blower so I can. This morning it was just raw. It was terrible. Appreciate they were like. So they've got it in here.
All right. So right off the bat, we have right here, photography prohibited. It cites Title 41, USC, Section 10274-74. I can't remember the exact citation. 41 CFR 102-74-420 is that's actually incorrect. It's not supposed to be US code. It's a federal regulation, not a code.
So they've got
they got to fix that.
It in here. Photography, videography.
I like how he only points to this one that doesn't have the. Also, I want to point. I apologize for pausing already. He points out this right, which doesn't have the code listed, but he ignores this right here that does have the regulation listed. The regulation, not a code, but it's still listed right here. But he points out to this one and says, "Oh no, it doesn't have it. It doesn't have the regulation listed. Therefore, I can ignore it."
Prohibited. Although I don't really see a security staff to speak of.
There's a requirement.
I've got a medical exemption.
Can I see it, please?
Pardon? Are you equipped to cover your HIPAA?
Alright. I will get to management and then let them know.
Okay.
So, as per usual, wandering around aimlessly, not actually doing anything.
We have the signs posted. The management says that you have to leave. If not, we'll call law enforcement and have you escorted out.
Call FPS. Let's not cause a scene. What I'm doing is
I will
lawful.
call FPS and I will call law enforcement as well.
What I'm doing is lawful.
No, it's not.
Well, I'd appreciate you quoting the law then.
I'll go with you.
The address.
Yeah. Because management says,
Yeah, okay. What's your name?
you can see my name.
Just be professional and tell me your name. What is your name? I can't
My
read
name-
all that shit.
My name is right here.
Your name's right here.
Yes.
Great look. Great
You're
look
not
right here.
cooperating with
I'm not
the rules
cooperating.
here.
What I'm doing
You
is
can see my
following the.
name.
I'm
Yes, you see my
following the
name.
rules of
I
this
see
building.
y'all on YouTube all the time.
Let's
That's
get the
fine.
manager out here.
The manager's visiting. He is in a meeting. Why do you think he hasn't came out here?
I'm not sure, Karen. So FPS is coming, Karen? That's a question. Is FPS
I hear
coming,
you.
Karen?
I hear you.
It's a question. Are you going to answer it?
No, I'm not.
So if they're coming, I'm going to stay.
The land PD will be on their way to see you.
Who? You called somebody that doesn't even have jurisdiction here? That was smart.
This is the land.
This is federal property.
Yes, I understand that.
You don't understand a lot.
So, in most jurisdictions, in most federal institutions, it depends on which one it is, and there's a lot of different. It's kind of messy, but generally, a local law enforcement is permitted can have concurrent jurisdiction in a federal building, and local law enforcement can enforce the state's trespass statute in these buildings with like a memorandum of understanding or with permission from the federal facility. So they have covenant. Gary said it right. They have a covenant with local authorities. Once they have that, then local law enforcement can enforce things like disorderly conduct or trespass. They don't need to have a federal law enforcement officer to come in and remove somebody.
Nice to meet you.
I'd say the same, but you didn't introduce yourself.
It's clearly on the shirt.
Candy, they banned him from all SSA offices, not just this one.
Hopefully DeLand is educating the security on what's lawful and what isn't in a public building.
Banned as well, Michael, they banned him after the second time he was trespassed, which we saw on Monday. Remember, this is before what we this occurred before what we saw on Monday. It was after Monday's trespass that they banned him from all SSA offices.
Got, I think, 3 officers in the little vestibule here talking with Karen. I think they can just put up random signs and then it's supposed to hold some weight. So hopefully they're just educating her. What's going on, fellas?
How you doing, sir?
Was anybody going to come in and talk to me?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
If you want to come outside and talk.
I'm good right here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you guys are just here to uphold my rights, right?
No, the only problem was, I guess, that they're saying is they just don't want you videotaping in here. Obviously, it's up to them and here with the business or whatever they have going on.
Well, this is public property.
Okay, I got
So
you.
it's not up to the business per se. There's time, manner, and place restrictions.
I know.
I'm
I got you.
within all of that.
I got you.
No, he's
And
not.
it's not us, it's them. If they don't want you videotaping in here, because obviously they have stuff
I get that,
posted.
but this is federal property, right?
I'm
So
listening to you.
they just don't get to make up rules. Law is what matters on federal property.
I
I hope
we're
you get-
figuring out everything.
Okay,
See what's
well, I
going on.
appreciate that.
We're not just coming in here
I
trying to
appreciate
say what we say.
I appreciate
and we're
that,
100%
man.
about
Well,
things.
I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher your name. What's your name?
Officer Murhead.
Marehead?
Yes, sir.
Officer Kelly.
What's your identification number?
My badge number.
Whatever you
So it'll
guys.
be DL878. That's my badge number.
DLA 78
878.
878.
Yes.
DL898.
Now who's in charge?
Who's in charge? I mean, we're all here, but we got obviously
Is there a
supervisors
supervisor
out
here?
there. Yes.
Who's the supervisor?
Well, all of them are supervisors. So.
All right. What's going on, guys?
Hello. Hey, how's it
Hey,
going?
it's going pretty good. I'm, you know, I had a conversation with the lady inside. She takes exception with me filming in a federal building. I'm not breaking the law, so you know, I'm assuming you guys are here just to uphold my rights.
I assume.
Yeah, we're here. They were concerned about you recording
Yeah.
for whatever reason. You know, there's a lot of personal information and stuff like
Sure.
that being.
Yeah.
It's a Social Security Administration, sure.
Right. So you're correct. You're not violating any laws, obviously, by recording. They're just checking with their bosses and stuff for, I guess, how they want to handle it. But
Do you guys find it troubling that a place like this is calling law enforcement to violate my civil rights? Do you see a problem with that?
We don't have an opinion on that kind of stuff, sir. We just get calls.
You don't have a problem on upholding civil rights?
We get calls all the time. that we
Did
have
you
to
take an
respond
oath?
to. We
Oh
get
my
calls all
God.
the time that we have to respond to. Some of the stuff we
Are-
can handle.
When they get a call for service, Tones, that's the video we covered on Monday. I actually watched the body cam footage of that on Monday. When it comes to a call for service, they don't know whether or not he's violating his civil rights. They're having a call for service of somebody who's recording inside the building and they want him out, or they believe he's trespassing, or whatever it is. It's not like we have somebody and I'm violating his civil rights. Can you come tell me I'm wrong?
Who's the highest ranking?
I am.
You are? So,
I am.
can you answer the question, or do you have to dance
Sir,
around
and
it?
as I'm saying, I'm not going to give you an opinion-based answer. That's,
How about a fact-based answer? Did you take an oath to the Constitution?
and as I stated to you, we get calls that we have to respond to.
Is that an opinion,
Some
or
are
is that a
civil,
fact-based
some are
question?
Criminal, and I'm not doing this game with you.
I'm doing a game? I'm sticking up for my civil rights, and you think it's a game?
I don't think it's a game.
This is a
Now
terrible look for you,
now you're
Lieutenant.
now you're putting words in my mouth.
No. I'm putting the words. This is a terrible look. I'm telling you what it is. It's not. I'm not putting
You're
words in your
entitled
mouth.
to your opinion. By all means, you're entitled to your opinion.
You're right. I am.
And again, I'm not going to give you my
Alright.
opinion on
Alright.
what you're asking.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. If you guys are going to address me, I'd like to speak with your supervisor. If you're going to come give me directives.
Not available.
Well, whatever.
I'm here if you'd like,
Yeah, but you're not here. I asked you a simple question.
and I'm not going to give you my opinion.
So your opi-
That's all there is.
Look at the lead you're setting for your officers. I asked you a question.
Sir.
Did you take an oath to the Constitution?
Yeah.
And that's an opinion? You're about to opinionate?
Oh my fucking god! All right, I didn't see. I saw the second video that we're gonna watch. I saw that one. I didn't realize he's going to be fucking. Sorry, I just cursed because this guy's already irritating the heck out of me. I didn't realize I was gonna have to deal with him bloviating in front of this officer for about 30 minutes. So I'm gonna have to move forward a little bit here.
For this
You
building.
don't need to curse.
I can though, right? Or is freedom of speech not cool out here too?
What I said, I just said you don't need.
Okay, would you like to read the rules?
Some people may find that offensive.
I don't give a shit.
Sam, you want to take a quick gander, gentlemen?
Even the officer is upset about my swearing.
You guys, this is terrible. You don't know and you don't care. And you Mareeb, Kelly, I hope you guys are free thinkers, man. You got a long career.
Oh my
Don't get
God.
caught up with guys like this that don't
He-
care about civil rights, especially you,
God.
Kelly.
And nobody-
I don't need you to tell me I'm correct. Am I debating anything?
So he's showing them the this. I'm gonna show you in the chat briefly. We're gonna go to it later on. But what he's showing the officers is the 2018 DHS memo that talks about photography and videotaping in federal facilities. We're gonna go back to this a little bit later on because of ultimately a Homeland Security officer does come in and talks with him about this memo. But that's what he's showing the local PD right now.
You guys don't understand freedom of press rights?
Oh my God.
Is that lost on you? That's a question. Or is that, am I opinionating again?
Thank you, warehouse boy, for the $4.99.
Are you aware of freedom of press rights?
Are-
Are you aware that we all have them?
Are you aware of the right to remain silent? Please exercise it.
Are you aware that we all have them?
Oh my God.
Officer? Identification number?
I'll give you a card if you like that.
I'd love a card, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, you got an email?
Randy, thank you for the 5
You
gifted
responsive
memberships,
emails?
man. Thank you.
Are you responsive to emails?
I respond to emails, yes.
Great.
Make sure everything's on there. There you go, sir.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome. If you like, I can put the event number down on this. so you
I would
can
love
have
that.
something to
Yeah, I'd really
reference.
appreciate it. Everybody's body cams on?
Absolutely. For our
Appreciate
policy.
that.
No problem.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds. Let me go back to my car. and I'll
Appreciate
look
that.
at the
Listen,
form.
man, I'm not trying to be
Can I
rude.
write it on there for you?
You can, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not trying to be,
I appreciate it. Go ahead. You're not trying to be rude?
I'm not trying to be rude, but we're talking about constitutional rights here. I take that shit seriously. You guys should too. I wish you would. I wish you would take constitutional rights serious.
Perfect. Well, like I said, we got a call. We're looking into it.
Okay, but you weren't looking into it until I gave you the information. They told you I wasn't allowed in there, and you guys were ready to say, okay, you're not allowed in. But that's not the
Okay,
that's
I'm
not the
turning
law,
these
guys.
alerts off. They're they're very annoying already.
Can you understand? Can you appreciate my position?
I can. But can you appreciate our position as well?
Yeah, of course.
Give me 2 seconds. Let me get this number.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
You've already gone past the pertinent information in.
Yeah,
The thing is I'm allowed to film in there.
I'm just
It
trying to-
specifically says it.
Because there's a part in here where it says something about
Duty for real.
what's up? Yeah, I'm for real. I'm
Okay.
thorough, right?
Okay,
You
well, I
handed me
appreciate
the
you being
entire
thorough.
packet.
Okay.
You don't expect me to try to get as much information from the packet as I can, because if it's something I'm unfamiliar with, I want to familiarize myself with.
Sure. Sure.
Sounds about right, right?
Yup.
Find what I was concerned about. What is it?
Do you guys have jurisdiction here?
Yes.
You do? On federal property?
Well, it's within our city jurisdiction.
But you realize this is federal property, right?
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, so do you have jurisdiction on federal property? Or should FPS be handling this?
Have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. Because you don't have jurisdiction here. FPS does.
Like I said before, they can have concurrent jurisdiction. It depends on a couple of factors. It's kind of messy. It's kind of complicated. But yes, local law enforcement can enforce laws on federal property. Not like they're forbidden from doing so.
There it is.
Same card. That's the call number. It's not a case number.
Okay.
You want me to explain the difference? Or
You don't need to. No, I got it.
Perfect.
I appreciate
yes,
it.
sir. No problem.
My concern is the except where security regulations, rules, orders, or directives apply.
Yeah.
See what I'm
Okay.
saying? Because
So,
the security directives are saying no videotaping inside. So just help me understand where you're coming from. You know
okay,
what I'm saying?
I'm just coming from the fact that that thing is clearly stating that I'm allowed to film in this building. I'm in
Wrong.
the corner, silent.
Right.
I'm not making.
It's
I'm not causing a disturbance. I'm not doing anything.
Right.
They can't just make up rules because I come in here with a video camera. I have
Well, I
freedom
know.
of press rights.
You're right. You're right. You do, and it clearly states in here that the exterior of federal buildings is no issue.
Yeah. What about the interior where it says?
That's
it?
where I'm getting to, where it says this regulation, except where security
Okay,
regulations.
let's just focus
rules,
on.
order.
Let's just focus on the law.
He doesn't want. So he's trying to pull a fast one on the officers here, because he's wanting them to ignore the first part of the regulation.
Okay.
Right. The law that includes the regulation and application of it.
Yeah. So where in there are you? I guess I'm missing it. It clearly states that I'm allowed to film in the
You don't know
building.
how to read.
Except where security regulations, rules, orders.
Yeah. Okay. Can you understand that those things can't be discriminatory? They have to be clearly stated.
What are you talking about?
Except where security regulations, rules, orders.
Yeah. Okay. Can you understand that those things can't be discriminatory? They have to be clearly stated.
I think
What's
they are pretty clearly stated on
What's discriminatory about it?
the wall where it says you're not allowed to videotape in there.
Okay, but that's a public building, right? There, so
Uh-oh.
where's the CFR under that?
Right. Well, it's
Oh my fucking god. So regulation says, except where security regulations, rules, orders, or directives apply, or a federal court order rule prohibits it, photographing persons entering in or on property may take photographs of. And then it goes through A through C. But then the application, this helps with interpretation, right? This, and the way that you read the application is how you would interpret that as a layman to make it more palatable to the layman's eyes. Application: photography and videotaping the interior of federal facilities is allowed under the conditions set forth in A through C of the regulation, unless there are regulations, rules, orders, directives, or a court order that prohibit it. Unless. So you can do A through C unless there is an existing rule prohibiting it.
Under that,
what do you mean CFR?
where's the code that says that's illegal?
Well,
Because if it's not illegal, I'm allowed to do it.
right, but in this paperwork that you just handed me,
Yeah.
it says that it's legal to tape or record inside of these places,
Yep.
except where the security regulations, whatever you want to call it, of the location prohibit it.
Okay.
Under Title 41.
Listen, you had your chance.
That was him talking to the security officer. So he's kind of a right.
You see what I'm saying? You see
Yeah,
where
I'm
that sounds
following
weird
you.
to me?
Yeah, I do. I understand what you're saying
Okay.
completely, but what she's saying, just because she says something doesn't make it so.
No, I don't care what she says.
Okay.
She's not a law enforcement. I mean,
She's security.
She's secure. Bosses are calling.
Their
and they're being
bosses should
concerned.
understand their own rules.
Right, right. And you're correct. And I'm trying to understand these rules that you
Okay.
handed to me.
Are you guys familiar with Poster 7?
Why is he bringing up Poster 7? In what way is Poster 7 relevant to this discussion? This is not a post office.
Okay, let's go back to this real quick
Okay.
before we move on,
All right.
because I want.
I understand what you're saying. You don't need to
Right.
re-explain.
Okay,
it,
but so you see where my concern is.
Yeah,
where
I do see.
It's clearly
yeah.
posted. They don't want you to record in there, and it says in this law that you handed me, except where it's prohibited by local. What is it
But-
exactly?
So in his video, he keeps pointing up to part C. Building entrances, lobbies, foyers, corridors, or auditoriums for news purposes. Recognizing the fact the public is allowed to photograph interior, entrances, lobbies, blah, 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 blah. So, for example, someone could, again, C, being allowed to do C is conditioned that there isn't an existing rule or regulation prohibiting that. Right? But what's interesting to me, and I think I called him out on it, is let me zoom in a little bit more so you guys can read it. This is part of the very top box here. Photography's interiors allowed on the conditions set forth in A through C, unless there's regulations, rules, orders, regulatory court order that prohibit it. For example, SSA has rules that prohibit photography and videotaping in its spaces. So even in this memo, it explicitly notes that the Social Security Administration has rules prohibiting photography and videotaping inside of its buildings. But he doesn't showcase that.
Blah, 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 blah. It states, except where security regulations, rules, orders, or directives apply.
Okay. Now, the only people that are going to make, I understand she's security for the building, but real security for this building is FPS.
Okay.
Okay. FPS is who actually has jurisdiction on this property. You guys don't. That's all. We don't need to argue about that right now. But if you think that there is some contradiction in what I'm saying, FPS is the people that you need to ask, not her. She's not the security personnel. FPS is the security for this building. You understand what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe just call FPS and say, are the people allowed to film in public buildings? And it'll be pretty clear. They'll say, yes, she should have called FPS to begin with. I don't know why she called you guys. Because I know you're going to say, well, this isn't the land, but this is not. This is federal property. Whether it's leased or not, it's federal property. You guys should know that.
Right, so First Amendment, Second Amendment.
Asked to talk to the manager. I mean, maybe the manager could have come out and just squashed the whole thing, but they didn't want to come out. They want to have their minions handle things.
Right, minions.
Yeah, FPS. Why is the land here?
Right. No, and I could see your point there. Okay. So, but that's why we're here.
All right, that's cool. Let's cut through all of it.
Okay.
What are you guys going to prevent me from going into the building?
Can't. I mean,
Because I understand your position. You understand my position. I think.
all right.
You're. I got to go now, though. Is the problem? And
Here and to not violate anybody's rights.
I appreciate that,
And I don't
Corporal.
want to do that. Okay?
you're not. She put you there. You know what I mean?
But like I was telling you, we don't take the calls.
Yeah, I get that. But I mean, you guys got 5 officers out here.
She's stuck enforcing the rules that they are saying, hey, cleaner.
How many miles you figure you guys walk a day?
Is what I guess I was gonna make that shift specific.
So there's not much here. However, we're gonna go to another the next video.
Do this, or they can't wear this, or whatever. It's like, all right. So what do you want us to do? Enforce a dress code or something? We.
Yeah. No, you've been great, man. I appreciate it.
You got a job to do, you know.
All right, so they're all, right now they're on the phone with somebody from Homeland Security
Violating the city ordinance?
Potentially,
or
yes.
federal police
I'm
officer,
not
something like
breaking
that.
any city ordinance
See,
there.
here's the thing, we get calls from businesses all the time.
That's different. Private, public.
If you guys, depending on what the go, but I can, even if he's gone, I can still sign with that stuff and mail it to him.
Yeah.
If I need to.
It's an operational readiness order. I mean,
Okay. All right. Could I just get a name from you so I know who I'm speaking to?
Yeah. First name is this your cell phone number?
Yes.
Okay. I'll text you my name and badge number, and if you could do the same, that'd be great.
Okay. Thank you.
what's your name, just for the record?
20 minutes. Let me see. I'm 15 minutes out now, so I might see you guys when I get there.
Okay. Just give me 1 second.
Because I know the reception is funky with the.
I know you already spoke about it again. I'm sorry. It was that album and everything like that. And what you got?
Yeah, so they can record anything available to the public. However, once they go inside the facility, based on the sensitive nature the customers are discussing with the Social Security Administration, they exchanging Social Security card numbers and all that, personal information, medical information. So they're prohibited from recording inside. And there's signs posted that say that. So once the signs are posted and he was given actual notice by our protective security officer, once I get there, I'll look at failure to comply with signs and regulations.
So what the officer is trying to tell him, I said earlier that this is one of the 2 guys that was on Monday, because it's the exact same building. The officer's telling him that he can go into the foyer, that first little cubby right there, that little foyer. He can go in there, record, but he can't go actually inside the building and record. That's what he's trying to tell him.
And then also failure to obey a lawful order by a federal authority, being the guard.
Okay.
And what was your name and identification number for the record?
I'm sorry?
You're gonna text us you're gonna text us your name and everything like that, so I can get it.
Yeah, I'll text it over. So I'm Inspector Breeze Mohammed with the Protective Service.
Do you have an ID number?
Yep, 1549.
Thank you.
I'll text it to this number as well, and if you could do the same report.
Oh.
And then whatever you guys end up doing, if you guys end up trespassing him, that'd be great. If that's, what the management wants there.
Okay.
Ask him if you have jurisdiction.
I'm sorry?
Does DeLand Police Department have jurisdiction on federal property? I just, for the trespass,
Hello?
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 Hello, sir.
Oh, they have a little bit of a.
I'm sorry, who was that? That was
With trespassing.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. Was he the one asking if the police department has jurisdiction?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep. Was he the one asking if the police department has jurisdiction?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you guys probably already know this, but yeah, that falls under proprietary jurisdiction, and local law enforcement has primary jurisdiction there.
So what he said, I think what he just said there is that local law enforcement has primary jurisdiction.
You guys probably already know this, but yeah, that falls under proprietary jurisdiction.
And FPOL, which I assume is the federal police, has proprietary jurisdiction. So yes, the local cops do have jurisdiction.
And then local law enforcement has primary jurisdiction there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but I'm about 15 minutes out.
The laughter of disbelief.
12 minutes
I
out
won't
now,
be
so
here.
I might see you guys by the time I get there.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks, sir.
No problem. Thank you.
Well.
Yep.
This is it's awkward silent.
I heard him.
FPS
Yeah. What you guys gonna do?
gentleman said, and he said for us to issue you a trespass warning for said building.
Okay.
Said property, I should say. Not just the building, but property. Which
Yeah.
means parking lot and everything else.
Yeah. You guys gonna? So are you asking me to leave?
Yeah.
So under threat of arrest.
If you fail to leave, you could face, yes.
I need to be, I need to be real specific. I can't have maybes and wilbies.
No, I hear you. But that's what I'm saying. If we go to a trespass call and somebody doesn't leave said property, then yes, that is the only other alternative.
Can I take a picture of the sign in the foyer that's supposed to have a CFR under it?
I don't have Brent. He even said that's okay.
Okay. Thank you. Pardon me, miss.
So literally this little section is the only place where he's permitted to film. This is the foyer. And he ignores this one. He only goes to this one that doesn't have the CFR listed.
Yeah, there's no CFR on the bottom of it, man. That's for them. That's them.
No
This
shit.
This is about
Sorry.
them protecting
Cursing, I'm
information.
sorry.
They're responsible for protecting the information of everybody in this office. If they leave social security numbers out, that's on them.
What about right there? Is that what you're looking for?
I'm looking for anything that'll get me there. So
Title
maybe
41
maybe
U.S.
it will.
Code, Section 102, 7420.
7420, 41, 101, 20.
Yeah, you're right. That one is the area subject to video surveillance recording. That's
Yeah, no, I'll look. I'll do. Yeah, I thought I did my due diligence, but
Right.
I'll absolutely research.
Look at that section.
Yeah,
Look at
I
that
will.
section because it specifically says if it's prohibited by security protocol at the location just read that section, man.
Yeah, no, I will.
Look that up.
Believe I'm not out here acting a fool. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. And there was another section in there where it said, it prohibits you from causing a disturbance, preventing people from using the facility, which you're not doing. You're not doing any of that. Our concern is just that U.S. code. Underneath that, you can't record in here, and the part in the paperwork that you gave me that says, except as whatever by
prohibited by
the security
personnel.
whatever. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, it's been a long day,
No,
man.
you're good. You're
but,
good, man.
except as where prohibited by security, whatever, then it's against their regulations.
Okay.
But it doesn't say anything about the outside. Out.
Well, yeah, I've just been trespassed from the outside.
Right.
So,
So if you could.
leave. All right, I'm just going to be clear with the lieutenant.
Okay, I'm not going to let him be clear with the lieutenant. We're going to go to the next one, and then we're going to go to something I think is a lot more palatable. Ugh.
This is a public service. Car number 57, DeLand, City of DeLand Police. We'll see if he comes in and has anything to say. Since Frost the other day, coming back on the property, and just to give you a heads up, here and said, hey, listen, the gentleman that that you had trespassed the other day, he's coming back on the property, and just to give you a heads up.
Wait,
this is kind of ridiculous.
I'm trying to remember. So what I don't know is I don't know whether or not this is the same day as before, but there's a new day. It might be a different day. So this is his second time, and then the Monday's event was a third time.
Yeah, you got a call though?
Usual. I'm
not sure, man. What was the call?
About someone trying to talk to a homeland inspector, I guess. So.
That
You a homeland security inspector or someone that
is there
has a meeting with one?
Is there an issue? You don't know? Was there a law broken?
I don't know. I guess there was a homeland inspector that called us.
Called you?
I guess. I don't know.
Are you guys here to enforce a law?
I'm sorry?
Are you guys here to enforce a law?
I'm not 100% sure what the call is, so I don't know.
You don't know what the call is?
With the person that called us.
Fair enough.
They're trying to figure out who called us.
Fair enough.
I'm assuming you didn't call us. So.
I did not call you, no. No, I'd prefer not to have contact with DeLand PD.
You called me over here.
Well, you're here now. I mean, I'd like to know what's going on. I mean,
Gotcha. Well, I don't know.
Absent you being here, I don't want you here, you know.
There is some in the police academy, yes, sir.
No.
Where I was. So I don't know.
I'm gonna skip ahead until the actual officer shows up, because it's kind of like, yeah.
No.
Fair enough. I'm sorry.
All right, here we go. Now Homeland Security officer's here, the same guy that was on the phone before. So finally.
I'm sorry. What was your name, sir? She wouldn't let me let you tell me.
No problem.
Do you have an identification number? Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, I guess what I was just informed is that you have been trespassed from the property, and that is the paper that they are looking at there. I guess there was an incident the other day or something. I don't know.
There was. I need to know what they're saying now.
Well, no, because they do have.
I'm having a private conversation with them right now.
You're gonna have to go somewhere in private, man.
Well,
I need to know what's being said.
Okay, well, you're being trespassed from this property.
This gentleman gave me express permission to be here.
Did you?
I told him I would meet him here to discuss some things with you. But right now I'm meeting with them, so give us a moment, and then I'll be right with you. Okay.
Okay. I appreciate you being cordial. Is she a supervisor of some sort?
No, she's an officer like myself.
Alright. She might want to brush up on some de-escalation training. Maybe some being courteous with the public training. There's no reason to be rude. I've been nothing but kind. Well, we'll see, I guess.
No, you're okay. So you had questions about
I do,
the
yeah.
federal rules and regulations.
That's correct. Yes.
What's your question?
Well, my question specifically is they were talking about the CFR that you mentioned and that I mentioned on the phone. So this,
Can I see that?
you may.
Where'd you get this?
Where did I get that?
Yeah.
You got off the internet. I mean, it's pretty easy to find.
I mean, you should have it. Do you want me to take you to the pertinent area? Or
No, it's okay. Give me 1 second. Let me read over this.
I appreciate that, man.
I just got a dog in there,
Yeah,
so
I'll step away.
always make sure that that it's locked. So
Yeah, no, I don't want to spook him.
Okay, what's your specific question? Because your activity is still prohibited even by that.
Okay.
So in case you didn't hear it, the officer said, so even with all of this material, your activity is still prohibited.
Well, I would just take exception to it. So, so subsection C.
Okay.
So I was in the lobby that day. Well, I was in the foyer and the lobby.
You were inside the building.
Well, technically, I guess I was in the corridors also, depending on what you're going to call a corridor.
Okay.
And it says, recognizing the fact the public is allowed to photograph the interior building entrances, lobbies, and foyers. So this is carving out an exception for the press.
There is.
Yes.
However, if you look at right here,
Yes,
for
sir.
example, SSA, which is the SSA has rules that prohibit photography and videotaping in its spaces.
Yep.
You can record the
And these are the
exterior, so-
exceptions that make it okay to.
No. See, he's reading the way he is. He's reading it. He's obviously reading it completely wrong. He thinks that the first half. The way he's reading it is that he's reading the first half of the rule as a general prohibition of photography. And then A through C are the exceptions that allow him to photograph. But that's not how it's read. That's not how that's not how the regulation is read.
But this agency has specific rules that you cannot record in their spaces and
this
their
is
signage.
this is the specific exception right there.
This is for other federal buildings. It specifically addresses Social Security Administration.
It does, and it's saying right there that it's allowed.
It's giving certain exemptions, and you can record on the exterior of the facility and certain areas inside the federal buildings, not this federal building. So an SSA has and I'm explaining this to you.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
right?
that's why I'm here for clarity.
Okay, so I don't want to hem you up or anything like that. I want you to have a clear understanding of the law and our interpretation of it, so you don't get in trouble and we just.
Yeah, I'm just here for clarity.
Okay.
You know, I want my constitutional rights
No, he's not. He's there to make a scene and make a YouTube video.
respected, and that's it.
And I respect them.
Yeah,
So I'm going to
okay.
explain to you. So for Social Security Administration, they have rules that prohibit photography and videotaping in spaces. Similarly, many in courtrooms, you can't go in a federal courtroom with cameras. It's still a public building. You just can't. They prohibit it. They have signs saying they prohibit it. Their guards will tell you they prohibit it. Our guard here is a representation of the federal government. She told you cannot record in here, and there's even signage that say you cannot record. Right? So that day specifically, you're in violation of, because you did not get their exclusive permission to record inside their space. You're in violation because you failed to obey the signs that are posted that says that you cannot record, and you're in violation of her direct order as a representative of the federal government to stop recording and exit the facility if you do not have further lawful business to conduct with the Social Security Administration.
There it is. Clean and simple.
Okay, I understood everything you said. I would take issue with.
Do you?
You know, this being some this prohibiting that, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, yes. Like you can go to certain federal buildings, they have art up, you know, certain arts.
Well, you know, the thing is there's public information in there, you know, so, I mean, access to public information, it shouldn't be withheld.
Public you mean like people's social security numbers? What public information is at the social security information that you could not obtain online already?
Because I have a camera. I shouldn't be discriminated against because I'm a member of the press.
You're not a member of the press
again because you're a member of the press. You just cannot.
You're a 2K subscriber, Andy, on YouTube. I mean, at least Rogue Nation has is in the 6 digits, for God's sake.
In protection of the public's information, people conduct private business with the Social Security Administration. Their Social Security numbers, their medical information, stuff like that. So in protecting their information, you cannot record in there.
But I mean, I wasn't in an area that I could get any of that information.
But you were, because when you walked around the lobby, which you're not supposed to be recording there anyways, there's people at the windows, you can get their information, they're discussing personal information.
But I didn't.
I'm not saying...
Just because you actually didn't is not the point. The point is the prohibit to eliminate the risk of that information being disseminated.
That you did this specific incident or not.
Fair enough.
Why it's prohibited? Why you can't?
Well, okay.
You understand that?
Yeah. No, I understood I understand everything that says. My position is that information at the top of the page about the Social Security Administration, that doesn't negate what it says at the bottom of the page.
Yes, it does, and he's an idiot for not understanding it. It does.
You know what I mean? So we're just agreeing to disagree is all I'm saying right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but you still cannot record inside the facility. You'd be in violation of 41 CFR.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. So can you provide me your name?
I'm not going to be doing that, no.
Okay, so you're agreeing you're not going to be going in there and recording?
I'm not going to go back into this location and record until I get further clarification.
Like I said before, a judge can explain that to you a lot better than I can.
Yeah.
I could arrange that meeting for you if you'd like.
I appreciate that. And could you
get more...
Not so subtly threatening to arrest him.
No. Could you give me the spelling of your name so I don't, I don't want to misrepresent you when I publish the story.
You can spell it however you want.
Come on, man.
But I could, if you don't understand my explanation and you're going to be doing this again, it's probably best that a judge explain to you a lot clearer than I can.
Yeah, I'm not interested in giving up my Fourth Amendment rights. I'm just not. And 901.151 gives me the right to not give up my information.
Okay, I'm not requesting to search you or anything.
Yeah, no.
I'm just requesting information to arrange that.
Yeah, no, and I'll seek further clarity, and then maybe I'll take you up on that offer to give me a ticket.
Well, that's my understanding why I came out here. I'm not going to be wasting my time and coming out here.
No, you're here.
Your request.
Yeah, so, you're here because I was seeking clarity. I think that's reasonable.
And did you get that clarity?
I did. Yeah, from you. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
No, he didn't.
Do you have any other questions?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you are trespassed from this location now.
I got it.
From this point on, you cannot come back on this property, and you will be arrested, unfortunately. Okay.
So he was given. Oh, so at least he was given a trespass notice.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
That probably explains why. Maybe that does explain why he was hooked up for.
Have a good day.
And Feriz.
Yep, that's good.
Is that it?
Yep.
Is Mohammed with one M or two?
However you want to spell it, man. It doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter to you? Your name doesn't matter to you?
I don't take offense if you misspell it. It's okay.
And what was your identification number again?
1549.
All right, so can I get your information through Freedom of Information Act request?
Yeah.
So you don't want to save me that trouble and just give me the spelling of your name?
Do you want to save me the trouble and give me your name?
What trouble am I saving you from?
Because if you're gonna come back out here again,
Well, I'm not gonna. You just told me I can't, so of course I'm not gonna come back. Yeah, well, until that
Well, he actually violates that. He does come back here, as we found out on Monday.
gets lifted, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not here to violate the law in any way.
And I'm here to make you understand the law. I don't want any issues either, so I'm here to explain
Yeah,
it to you further.
I'm not here to violate the law in any way. I want to be crystal clear about that. I'm here for my constitutional rights. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
So you don't want to give me your name? You're going to make me do
You
the
just
request?
spelled it. You did a good job.
So was it 1 M or 2?
1.
Service Partner Homeland Security, this is Alexis. This line is being recorded. What is the exact location of your emergency?
Alexis, I thought I called a non-emergency line.
Is there anything I can help you with?
Yes, there is. Are you a Homeland Security agent?
I'm a dispatcher for FPS.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure. Maybe you can direct me to somebody better equipped. I'm not sure. Maybe you can answer the question. Maybe you can't.
Okay.
I had an interaction today with DHS inspector, and I just wanted to get the correct spelling of his name. His name was Fareed Mohammed. His identification number was 1549.
Yeah, so you just want how to spell his name.
Oh,
That's
so he
it.
gave him the wrong spelling.
He's one of our Federal Protective Service inspectors, so let me get that for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so his first name is Fareez, and last name is Mohamed.
And just for clarity, that was 1549 identification number?
That's correct.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for... All right, well, I am being followed actively. Here is a DeLand officer who is actively attempting to tail me.
All right. I know it's not as satisfying as the Mondays. But as we all know, on Monday the spoiler is that he comes back to the same place with a new excuse that he wouldn't refuse to wear a mask. That the policy was still in place. He refused to give his information, and he was arrested for trespass there. And as a result of that, he was banned from every Social Security Administration office. Not just that one, but every single one of them as a result, because he just couldn't figure it out. So we're going to move to what I think is a far more enjoyable video. I discovered this yesterday. I think it was yesterday, and I couldn't wait to showcase it to you guys today. Well, you know what? Beforehand, let me refresh y'all's memory real quick. So here, I imagine many of you guys, I think, remember this guy.
Oh, no.
Y'all remember this guy, right?
See, that's the misconception. Oh, I heard the judge shut you down. No, I said what I needed to say the last time. And this time I put it in writing and served it.
Kirk Pendergrass.
I don't need to say anything else. The evidence is their actions. At this particular point, I'm conducting the audit. And any man who deprives
Here he
rights,
tried to...
well, that's a criminal
He
complaint.
tried to be
warrant for
somebody's
their arrest.
attorney in Idaho in this one.
You gots to be smarter than the average bear. Okay? And again, these are those dipshit trolls out there that just don't get it. You know, it's funny, I've been doing this kind of stuff for how many years now? And I still just haven't been arrested or anything for unauthorized practice of law. I just don't get it.
2 weeks later.
Oh, Casey Baker. Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you want to do today? I believe you don't have an attorney yet. Is that correct?
I have.
I didn't hear you.
Counsel. I have hired assistance of counsel.
Okay. Who's that? What's your name, sir?
Kirk Pendergrass.
Okay. Are you a licensed?
I've done a notice of special appearance, and I did a judicial notice with memorandum of law on the right to the assistance of counsel.
Okay. Are you a licensed Idaho attorney?
I don't understand. There is no license.
All right. So
if you read the practitioner's judicial report, we went to Congress and challenged the fact that you can't license the practice of law, and it creates a situation of a monopoly. So this was back in 2017. So we've already defeated the argument that there is no license to practice law.
Okay. So first, let me address the Mr. Bowermaster. Mr. Bowermaster, I just want to inform you, I think you've been informed of this in the past, that you do not have permission to broadcast or film this. You certainly have permission to observe, just like anyone else. So I'm making that record clear. Where you go from here is up to you. Regarding Mr. Baker, it sounds like you'd like to have a hearing today. Is that correct? I'm not, sir, I'm not going to hear from you. I'm only asking Mr. Baker questions. You are not authorized to practice law in Idaho.
Authorized.
Hang on, I'm going to counsel you. You are breaking the law if you represent this gentleman while not, I understand what you said, that you think I'm wrong. I don't care. So we can have a hearing with Mr. Baker today. You cannot represent him.
I'm not here to represent him. It's assistance of counsel pursuant to the Fifth Amendment, the right to the assistance of counsel.
This was... I thought I turned that off. Hey, Reese, thank you for becoming a member. I thought I turned all of this off, darn it. Thank you, Jonathan Kaplan, for becoming a member, and Sandy Stern, thank you for becoming a member. This was back when I tried to actually make an uploaded video, you know, with my garbage editing skills. But I was pointing out State versus Bragg says, however, the authorities are unanimous that a defendant in a criminal prosecution has no constitutional right to be represented at trial by a non-lawyer lay counsel.
Is this man's choice, not yours. I already put this court on judicial notice. Okay, so ignorance of the law is no excuse. That's why I put you all on notice. And again, we already went to Congress in 2017 and challenged this. There is no license to practice law. Your membership card to the club is not a license to practice law.
All right. Mr. Baker, are you wanting to have a hearing today, or you want to go a different route?
We're ready for a hearing.
All right. So, Mr. Baker, I'll see you here in person at the courthouse at 1:30. I'm telling you, sir, that I will not hear from you. You can come here. You can attempt to speak. I will not hear from you. If you continue, you'll just be removed from the courthouse, okay? So
I'm going to object to your usurpation of power, and be advised that's a felony. And you're practicing law from the bench, which violates 28 U.S.C. subsection 454.
Okay, I appreciate that information. I'm telling you that's how it's going to go down. How you choose to proceed is up to you. Well, I appreciate that you disagree with me. And if I'm wrong, then you're going to have me arrested down the road, but it's not going to happen today. So I'm going to make my record. Under Idaho Code 7-601, subsection 5, you are holding yourself out to be counsel today. I checked. You are not licensed by the Idaho State Bar to be an attorney. I have offered you the opportunity to step back. You refused to do so. With that, I'm holding you in contempt of court today. And it's punishable, as I said, by up to 5 days jail, up to $5,000. Mr. Judd, do you wish to be heard today?
No, Your Honor, I'll be matter of discretion at court. Thank you, sir.
And regarding your sentence, sir, do you wish to be heard? It's punishable by up to 5 days, up to $5,000.
Sounds like, I think that could be a fall under bills of the and bills of and penalty.
Okay. I'm trying to avoid having you taken into custody. So do you wish to be heard on that matter?
You're acting under the color of law. I don't
Okay.
understand.
So you're about to go to jail unless you step back.
That would be kidnapping.
Okay. So you don't wish to be heard on your sentence.
On my sentence?
You're about to be taken into custody unless you step back from that table.
You cannot deprive life,
All right.
liberty,
So
pursuit, and happiness.
don't be heard regarding your sentence. I'm going to place you in custody for 2 days, forthwith, no options. In addition, I'm going to penalize you $1,000. Actually, I'm going to craft this slightly.
With all due respect, Judge, I would like to ask you one more time, under what law are you depriving me of my right to assistance of counsel?
Yeah, so we're having a debate about what law there is, and I'm telling you that I have valid authority and jurisdiction under Idaho Code 7-601. I understand you disagree. I understand you both disagree.
And your credibility is being seriously impacted by not answering the question.
I've answered it to the best of my ability, sir, so I'm sorry that
So
doesn't
there is no law that you're reciting depriving me of my right to assistance of counsel.
So it's going to be $5,000 with $4,000 suspended. I don't believe there are court costs here, but if there are, I'm waiving them. And then 5 days jail with 3 suspended,
You okay with it?
2 to serve, forthwith, no options.
He tries to appeal to the gallery, which is all full of his sycophants.
I'm not okay with it.
I'm not okay with it.
Anybody else not okay with it?
It's not okay.
Sheriff's office?
He has the right to choose his own counsel.
All right.
Should have said it loudly.
I'll give you one last opportunity. Step back. We're done. It's too late. You're done. All right. So with that, there are a couple of preliminary matters you need to take up to make your file.
Okay, so now that we got that refresher, he is back again on a new charge. This was I think it's obstructing an officer. So let's take a look and listen in on this judge and what he thinks about Kirk's most recent filing on a motion to dismiss.
Today is set for a motion to dismiss filed by Mr. Pendergrass on November 7th. Verified motion to dismiss with prejudice, also a concurrent brief or memorandum in support of the motion.
Oh, I just saw this. Hey, Taylor, thank you for the $10 tip. Much appreciated, Taylor.
We have a status conference set for January 3rd at 1:30, and we have a jury trial set for January 5th at 8:15 a.m. The motion to dismiss being set for today, let me have the parties to this case identify themselves, starting with the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. Kane Venesia for the state.
Thank you. For the defense?
Sorry, I just had to grab something off.
Sorry, I just had to grab something off the printer real quick.
You're okay. I saw you jump up, and I know that happened. And Mr. What's your name, sir?
My name is Kirk.
Okay, Kirk Pendergrass.
The Pendergrass family, yes.
Okay, thank you. So we're here today based on your motion to dismiss that I've read through. Let me start off first by asking Mr. Pendergrass, are you prepared to proceed today?
Well, I'm going to object based on the grounds that in my motion to dismiss, I did not demand an oral argument. Okay. So I don't know who set this for a hearing. I didn't demand a hearing.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to vacate the hearing if you'd like me to do that.
Yeah, it says in there that I demanded it in writing, which cited several cases it must be done in writing, and there's actually no objection to the motion to dismiss. So I would actually move for a default judgment today, Your Honor.
Let me hear from the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state will be objecting to the verified motion to dismiss as well as the supporting memorandum. The state's concern here is that pursuant to Idaho Criminal Rule 12D, the state believes that the motion that was filed is essentially a pretrial motion, and specifically Idaho Criminal Rule 12B, and that under Idaho Criminal Rule 12D, that any motions made under 12B must be filed within 28 days after the entry of plea of not guilty or 7 days before trial, whichever is earlier. Given that this is a motion masquerading as a 12B and the not guilty date was entered on June 15th of 2022, and this motion was filed on November 7th, 2022, which is 145 days.
So he's a little bit late. He's a little bit out of time.
After entry of plea of not guilty, the state would request that the motion be denied in its entirety. Also, the defendant's motion exceeds the number of allowable pages pursuant to the 4th Judicial District Local Rules 8.1 and 8.2. So the state would request that it be denied in its entirety on those grounds. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Two things. One, I'll note that while I typically agree with the state as it regards the motions, there was a hearing a little while back that was with Judge Boyer. My recollection reading through the minutes is there was at least some type of motion raised at the time that there would be a motion, and Judge Boyer set a deadline for November 7th, which was complied with. I'm going to look back at the minutes right now just to determine if there's any more I can glean from that. But there at least was raised the request to file a motion, and Judge Boyer said, I'll give it to the 7th of November. And that's based on my reading of this. At that point, I'll say this. It was a different prosecutor, Mr. Donovan, who was here at the time. And my understanding is at the time that there was a discussion. Mr. Pendergrass indicated he had some personal things going on in his life, had started drafting a motion and can have it filed by Monday, November 7th. The state objected at that time to the timeliness of the motion. And there was a waiver of speedy trial at that time. And the indication from the minutes is that the filing would need to be made by November 7th, or it would then be considered on time. Mr. Venesia.
So what the judge is saying is that I think, was it a previous judge or it was a previous prosecutor, previous person of the state? They did grant, Pendergrass waived his speedy trial right, and I guess they did that to permit him to file this motion out of time. So he had the deadline of November 7th, and he turned it in by a new deadline of November 7th to turn in whatever the hell this is, and he was able to do that within time.
I'll give you a chance to respond, but that's my reading of the record.
And Your Honor, I might need to pull court audio from that date. The notes that I have show that it was November 5th. I understand the court minutes reflect November 7th. I would just need to confirm that though. But given the minutes do say the 7th, I would still request to pull court audio to verify.
Okay. Mr. Pendergrass, do you wish to be heard further on that matter?
Just the simple fact that, I did make the continuance, was granted the continuance given the deadline of the 7th. Due to family issues, previous continuance on that as well. The fact is they only have 21 days to respond. We're well past the 21 days. 3 days after the 21 days, we can move for default judgment. We are within that timeline, past the 21 plus the 3 days. So there is no filed and.
He keeps saying there's a default judgment. As far as I know, it could be different in Idaho. default judges is a civil thing. It's not for traffic. It's not for freaking criminal.
Served objection. There's no memorandum of law. I'm prepared for the motion for default judgment.
Well, let me say a few things. One, the state is correct on a few other things, though. The local rules do dictate that a motion, any briefing, I should say, be of 25 pages or less. That's Fourth Judicial District Rule 8.1. Which of your 25 pages would you like me to consider?
Well, that'd be irrelevant because the rules of procedure wouldn't apply because there's no jurisdiction here. That's what's been challenged, and jurisdiction can be challenged at any time, even after judgment, after trial, even on appeal. So, again, none of this applies. None of your rules, none of your Idaho code, none of that stuff applies because jurisdiction's been challenged, and jurisdiction has not been proven in writing. There is no objection in the record, and therefore that is grounds for default judgment.
And point to me, I'm looking in there. Where did you ask for in writing?
In the motion.
Where in the motion? Motion or the briefing?
Motion to dismiss. No demand for oral argument. Demand for in writing, and I submitted in several cases within the brief memorandum that jurisdiction must be proved in writing and on the record by the moving party. The state can't determine its own jurisdiction.
Let me say one thing. I may need to address one thing, and that's what is binding or binding law for the court.
Okay, here's where we get to it, because I think for the first time we're hearing live, like in audio and not in a written opinion, a judge actually reading through what most of us have all read about SovCit filings, the citations we've all seen, the arguments that are made. We're hearing a judge respond directly to a lot of them. That's just what I like about this video.
As well as who has the power to decide those questions. Your motion, and I certainly applaud you, you were thorough in your briefing and in your motion. You addressed a lot of things, very passionate and sincere in your beliefs here. But there were a few things, at least, that concerned me from the beginning. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have this. I feel the need to address what is and what is not binding law, as well as who has the power to decide those questions. You cited a number of cases from foreign jurisdictions, foreign states, which have no binding precedent upon the court.
Number one, citing out-of-state decisions.
A number of them, at least some of the earlier ones, are quotes from dissents, which are not the holdings. Or
2, quoting from dissenting opinions, which are also not binding.
Of any binding precedent upon the court. At least one I read was from a case that was overturned approximately 50 years later.
Quoting decisions that were subsequently overturned.
There were others that were abrogated. Like I said, you referred multiple times to a judge from the state of Washington, quoted in a dissent. So it was not anything binding upon the court. Of importance to this court, and I think important to point out, the only portion of a case typically that is legally binding is the judicial holding, parts of the court's opinion that were necessary for the decision. The Supreme Court and common rules of interpretation mandate that words and phrases are analyzed and applied in the light of their context.
Taking opinions and decisions and quotes out of context.
Context in the case, not in isolation, which is seeming to be what occurs in most of your briefing there. I'll note that there is a former United States Supreme Court case, Hines versus Grimes Packing Company, 337 U.S. 86 from 1949, in which the court gently admonished the party that attempted to narrowly define a statutory term that they had taken from one place by selectively choosing or cherry picking certain favorable language. And that's a little bit what I'm saying here. Similarly, pointing
a little bit
distinct phrases from judicial opinions without consideration of the context, in this court's mind and another court's mind, can be misleading. And yet that's precisely what I'm seeing in your briefing. Additionally, reliance upon state court opinions to support various constitutional claims is somewhat flawed. The United States Supreme Court has the power to definitively interpret and define the terms that appear in the Constitution of federal statutes. And I saw a number of definitions and different things you referred to there. I think some from dictionaries, other
Citing the dictionaries.
treatises or documents, and while those may be helpful or illuminating, they're not binding legal authority.
Citing to treatises, dictionaries are helpful, but are not binding legal authority. They are secondary sources.
Can't be relied upon to establish rights. And so I certainly had questions because I'd like for you to point out any of the Idaho law in there, quotations. I'm certainly familiar with some of these Supreme Court ones. I'll note that there are a number of others that, quite frankly, on page 5, Snarer versus Cohen, 41 F 946, I don't believe exists in that there. You may be referring to Scherer, S-H-E-R, I believe it's A-R versus Cohen, 41 F.2D 945.
Improper citations.
But I have similar problems throughout your briefing, Mr. Pendergraft. And so I set the hearing because I have problems and concerns with some of the authority that you've given me. So here's what we'll do. I'm happy to issue an opinion in writing, but I'd like clarity on your brief, your memorandum, any Idaho law that you're willing to give. And if you're not, then I'll rule without that or with what I have based on what you've given me. I'll give the state a chance to do the same as well. I'll note for the record that when I read this, there had been an objection to timeliness. You had been given an additional amount of time to file yours. I'm going to give the state that same, raising, as I said, the concerns I have about what you've done. As I said, you've given a lot of things, and some things standing in and of themselves seem to make sense, or I wouldn't disagree with them, but it seems like there's a very selective choice of what you put in here without giving the context of the various cases. And I'd like that to be corrected within 25 pages, which is the limit per local rule 8.1.
So I know that this may disappoint some, but I actually want to see this. The judge is giving him 25. I think he said 25 calendar days to resubmit his brief, but to correct all the errors that he pointed out. And I would love to see what he tries to pull out of his rear end, considering his entire brief is full of this. I would love to see what he tries to submit.
In this case, then do that.
Oh, it's within 25 pages, not 25 days. I'm sorry.
Briefing deadline for the parties to comply with that. Give you the opportunity to do that. Amend yours, but it has to be 25 pages only. The state will be given a chance to do the same. Mr. Venesia, is the state wanting to put on evidence in this case?
Thank you, Deborah.
Affidavits. Let me ask that.
For the 199 super sticker.
Your Honor, the state will most likely be submitting affidavits.
Okay, then I'm going to do this. In order to do that, given that there's been a waiver of speedy trial, and also to allow Mr. Pendergraft to answer some of the court's questions which I have regarding his authority that you presented. And quite frankly, that's my concern. There are isolated quotes taken out, and if I'm going to give an example, I can probably give the example in the...
He's still going.
As you talk about the right to travel.
Oh, right to travel.
You quote from the Chicago Motor Coach Company. And you have one quote there. This is one thing that I had noted, but the Chicago court had actually noted later that it's been held that the states, in their exercise of the police power, may regulate speed and can another time create reasonable rules and restrictions after the use of automobiles, which seems to stand opposite to the proposition you put in from that same case. There's other cases in there in which I can find the exact same things, Mr. Pendergraft. So I want to give you the chance to clarify your own motion, because as I went through, I found from some of the cases later quotes that seem to...
quoting cases which contain paragraphs that contradict what they're trying to argue with. That's another one.
Defeat the very proposition you put them for. So I'll give the both parties the chance to respond. Mr. Pendergrass, here's what we'll do. I'm going to need to vacate the trial in order to do that, the currently set trial. There having been a waiver of speedy trial, though, I want to make sure that your motion is heard in its entirety, and then I'll rule in writing. If I gave you, Mr. Pendergrass, and I'm looking at the calendar right now, today being the 14th. And I want to make sure I give you time because I think you raised a number of important issues, obviously important to you, and I think important issues overall, but I'd like clarity on your authority that you presented to me. And once again, not in isolation, but in the context of the case.
I would like you to try this again and actually make a case. Tones, I feel like this judge is a fan of all our videos. Has been waiting for SovCit to come to his court and say all this. I mean, to be perfectly honest, if I were to find myself in his position, I probably would be jumping for joy. Like I'd try to contain myself, but I'd be jumping for joy if I ever found this in front of me. So he's basically saying, I'm gonna give you another chance, but you're going to have to not do the SovCit BS thing and take quotes out of context, cherry pick, and do a little bit more research.
Context matters in this. If I give
context matters.
Sufficient time.
Yes, sir.
Today being December 14th, that means 1, 2. I'm going to pull up another calendar because I only have one calendar into the end of the year sitting in front of me. That'd be the 4th of January 2023.
January 4th.
Switching from 22 to 23.
Yeah, and it's one of those times where in elementary school I used to mix that up for the first month.
Right.
I'd write.
Thank you, Vera Lucia Campos, for the $10. I don't know what is the R designation. I actually don't know, but thank you very much.
The same number before, so I'm trying to be careful on that. So briefing by Mr. Pendergrass be done supplemental by January 4th, 2023, not to exceed 25 pages. Then the state, if I gave the state 3 weeks to respond, is that sufficient time for the state?
Yes, Your Honor.
By January 25th, 2023. And then Mr. Pendergrass, I'll give you a chance to reply to theirs if you'd like to do that as well in writing.
Yes.
Give me 1 second.
I did have a question on the.
Oh, okay, so that was Kirk's deadline is the 4th, and then the state has until the 20-something of January. So we're probably not going to be able to see this again until February, which kind of sucks. I was actually hoping we'd get to see it again in January. Though, if he posts his revised brief in his Telegram group, I doubt he is. I'll be sure to share it with you guys.
You were talking about other
Brazilian, gotcha.
Other state Supreme Courts and stuff. Article 4, Section 1, full faith and credit.
No, that's not how full faith and credit works.
Of all the judicial proceedings of all other states, we're a union here. So when one Supreme Court rules on a certain right, it applies everywhere because rights are actually the law. It comes from the French word droit. So it really wouldn't matter what state in the union articulated that.
You're welcome to brief that. I'd love for you to provide me Idaho law as well from the Idaho Supreme Court, Idaho Court of Appeals. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I prefer you cite to law of the state that you're in.
And then Mr. Pendergrass, you're welcome to supply reply memorandum to the states being due the 25th of January, a reply one. And once again, the state's limited to 25 pages. If either party wishes more, they need to seek leave of the court by filing a motion to exceed the page limits. And then the court can review that and grant or deny that request. If I gave you 3 weeks to respond, not knowing what we're going to get from the state, I'd like to give you sufficient time for your reply briefing. Is that sufficient time, Mr. Pendergrass?
From January 25th?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay. Let me make sure I have the date right so we're all talking same time frames.
I'm going to be very brief with this. Very, very brief. What he just said about full faith and credit, no, he's wrong. Full faith and credit, to give an example, would be that Alabama would recognize a judgment of divorce in New York State, or a marriage license of Hawaii would be recognized by California. That's what full faith and credit means. It has nothing to do with the judicial rulings of a state's Supreme Court being binding on another state.
That would be February 15th, 2023 at 5 p.m. Filing due there. And when I say these dates, all filings be due at 5 p.m. That's what I mean. Every once in a while I see someone filing something at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. I'm going to give filing deadlines at 5 p.m. On each of those. So just to reiterate, Mr. Pendergraft to supplement or provide briefing 25 pages clarifying by January 4th of 2023. The state to respond by January 25th of 2023. And Mr. Pendergraft reply to that by February 15th of 2023. The court will deem it under advisement as of February 16th of 2023 and issue a formal opinion. What I'd like to do is set up for a status conference to have something set so it's not languishing. That way we can meet back again and have further conversations, whether that be to set it for a trial, whether that be for the court to enter an order of dismissal, whatever the case may be. I just don't want to leave this open-ended because I find that sometimes those cases get away from everyone. So let's do this. What I'd like to do is set it for a status conference, and we can set it for a little after February 15th. That way we can review, make sure everything's in. If there's been a problem and I review and say, here's what I've received, and someone said, I did file and has some proof of that, we can make sure there's not a problem. That's kind of what I'd like to do to make sure nothing slipped through, there was an electronic error somewhere. So we look at a time and date for that shortly after the 15th, or maybe even a week or two after.
And you'll be doing a finding of facts and conclusions of law?
That'd be my intent to do. I'll be drafting whatever I think is appropriate based on what I receive from the parties. I'll say that.
So I was wondering if you're going to do that, then you need some time between the time that you do your findings of facts before the status conference in case there's something there that needs to be done. Like a motion to reconsider, writ of prohibition.
I may be doing a status conference before I even issue the decision, and we may just reset it for another status. But I want to kind of keep it going right now because I don't know what I'm going to get from the parties or how long my decision may be. So I want to make sure that we have a date, and then if we need to, we can reset that date. It may just be a touch base step and say, I have everything, I'm working on it, and maybe here's when I'm anticipated having it done. So that's where we're on. And then we can set any future dates if need be after that. Give me a moment, I'm looking through a few things. This is about 2 weeks after that, but March 2nd, I have some...
March 2nd, so that's what it sounds like. Man, that's a long time. That sucks. But again, I'm hoping that he'll post his brief in the Telegram group, and I'll be able to take a look at it ahead of time.
Status conferences at 10:15 for trials the next day. We could take up the jury trial statuses and then take this up afterwards, which I anticipate would be a fairly short status conference. So 10:15 on March 2nd. Does that work for the party?
That works for the state, Your Honor.
Yes, sure.
And then we'll send out notice of that, and the court will deem this under advisement once I've received the final documents from the parties. That being filed the 15th of February. I'll deem it under advisement the next day, the 16th of February. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing the filings. I look forward to seeing yours, Mr. Pendergraft, and yours as well. Mr. Vanessa, will this be you, or will it be someone else from your office filing?
I am not entirely sure, Your Honor. It might be myself.
Well, I'll look forward to whomever it is that I receive it from. Thank you, Mr. Pendergrass. Thanks, Mr. Venecia. We'll look forward to that and then reconvene at the next data. One thing I will say is the trial for the set in January currently will be vacated in light of the motions that the court will be hearing in this case.
Okay.
Thank you. So any subpoenas for that day are the parties are welcome to call off.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good Christmas.
You as well, Mr. Pendergrass. Have a good Christmas, Mr. Venecia. I'm sure I'll run across Mr. Venecia before then, Mr. Pendergrass. I doubt we will unless you happen to see it for me, but I wish you a Merry Christmas as well.
All right. Thank you.
All right. So I'm very, very excited to see where this happens. So people are asking, what's this over? I looked up the docket, and the only charge I saw was like an obstruction. It's like an obstruction charge or failure to comply, something like that. But given that he cites right to travel stuff in his motion to dismiss, I assume it had some involvement with traffic or of some kind, of a traffic stop. But if that's the case, I don't know why that's the only charge of theirs, the obstruction. But I can't wait to see what this guy probably cooks up, especially when the judge basically wiped out his entire brief. I don't know where the heck he's going to go from here, but I guess we'll find out. But that's going to be it. I want to thank you guys for watching. I saw we had almost over 600 of you guys tonight. It's a great turnout. Please hit that like button. Please check out my Discord on your way out. It's always appreciated. Really helps the channel. And I will probably be on again Friday. I was actually planning on driving to my sister's for the Christmas break, but the weather doesn't look like it's gonna be safe for me to do that, so I'm probably going to wait until Saturday morning. So I'll probably be live again on Friday. So I want to thank you guys again. Do I have? Oh, I'm so sorry, Kit. I almost missed your super chat. Kit, $195. He's been citing law of the state he's in. That state is just denial, and he's been a citizen of that state for many, many years. Yes, he has. Thank you very much, Kit 190 for that. Streaming Christmas Day again? No. More than likely not. I mean, maybe, but I'm signs point to no, I guess the best way of saying that. All right, guys, take care. Stay safe, stay warm, and I'll check you guys next time. Later.